What is up? It's your boy Johnny Shreve, IFBB Promos to tell like it is. Welcome back to the episode of Straight Talk with Shreve. In today's discussion, we'll be delving into a very important complex topic, masculinity, and how societal norms can shape and influence it. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's get it started. So there's been a lot of debate recently around certain terms like toxic masculinity. It's a term you might have heard in discussions, news stories, you've seen online, and it's been used to describe negative traits, behaviors often associated with men. But let's be extremely very clear. The term toxic masculinity does not mean that all masculinity is inherently toxic. Make that very clear. And that's why I do not like the term toxic masculinity, because simply there is masculinity and that is it. There are men who do toxic things just like there are women who do toxic things. It doesn't mean that all men are toxic or all masculinity is toxic. It doesn't mean that all femininity is toxic. But we're going to stay on the topic of just men because that's who's under fire. That's who's been under attack for the last few years now. Masculinity is under attack. And I want to make things very clear and give my input so we can have a better understanding of how to approach anybody that comes up to us and talks about toxic masculinity. Hey, what's good, people? Struggling to keep up with your routine or you feel like you're just spinning the wheels? Well, you came to the right place. Check out the link in the description below for my customized one-time training or nutrition plans. I'm also offering online coaching with weekly check-ins and unlimited contact with myself. And look, if you don't want to dive in right away and you have some questions, book yourself a video call with myself. And at the end of the consult, I deduct off any package that you pick. Anyway, guys, let's get back to the show. Let's dive into it, guys. Toxic masculinity refers to societal norms that can encourage harmful behavior in men and boys, such as suppressing emotions other than anger, avoiding any appearance of weakness or what is considered feminine, and using violence or aggression to assert dominance. That is what you call toxic masculinity. Now, I'm just going to put it right here. That's just toxic. It isn't masculine at all to do any of those things. It is toxic behavior. So when we hear toxic masculinity, we need to really just get rid of that term, period, and just say toxic behavior from people. And toxic behavior from people is encouraging harmful behavior, and doesn't matter if it's men or women, boys or girls, but that is toxic behavior, suppressing emotions other than anger, avoiding appearances of being weak, and being considered feminine, or just using violence, aggression to assert dominance. So understand that, but there is a flip side of that, because there is positive masculinity. But I want to make sure that just to keep things, consistent in the continuity of this entire conversation. If there's toxic masculinity, then there's positive masculinity. Again, I want to get rid of the term. For me, when it comes to positive masculinity, here's what I think. There is the other side of the coin. Many of you have shared your definitions of what it means to be a man, what a man should be. And that often includes many of the positive traits associated with masculinity: hard work, empathy, love, protectiveness, a sense of responsibility to one's community. These are indeed widely seen as desirable and positive traits in individuals, regardless of gender. So when I look at my life, growing up, and I look at my parents are 80. My mom's 80 this year, and my dad's 83. They were born in times that are way different from now. So when I look back and I look at what a man is, what a man should be, I look at my father. Now, obviously, my parents have made mistakes, like every parent makes mistakes, because there is no manual to being a parent. There's no manual to being a person. We just go through life learning and doing our best to live the best life that we can. But when it comes to a man and what I believe a positive man is, here's my dad and here's how I can describe my father. Hard working. Our family is the first family he's been involved with. He has 3 brothers and 4 sisters, and they didn't grow up saying, "I love you." That just wasn't their thing. They didn't grow up saying, "Love you, good night dad, good night mom, love you." My father saying "I love you" to me is a first for him. So when I look at a man, I look at my father being a hard worker. I'm talking hard work. Not only did he work full-time plus overtime, he worked extra on the weekends, cutting grass, doing lawn work, doing anything to make more money. When he was at work, working in the dinner was cooked by my mother, or sometimes it wasn't, my father would cook. My father cooked. My father cleaned. My father did those things. My father was a very masculine man, and he did suppress some of his emotions because that's how he was brought up. But I watched him learn as we grew up to being more and more, diverse with his emotions. So I've watched a man go from this tough love to being a very soft, I would say soft, but like a very, sensitive man. He was protective. He was strict. He was involved in the community, involved in church, involved in the neighborhood. He did everything he could to protect us, to be there for us, to provide for us, and to be a great, husband to my mother. That's what I look at as what a man should be. I was watching this podcast, and I've used the word high value man before, and I've used the word toxic masculinity. And for me, I wasn't happy with that. I was like, I got to do my own research and come up with what I believe, what my point of view is. And that's what you guys should do as well too. It's on you to do your own research and come up with your own answers and not just go with what someone says, no matter how great it sounds. And the one thing I came up with that was really cool that I agreed with was, on one side you have toxic masculinity, then you have a high value man. I believe that both those things should not be said. Here's why. And I just explained it. My father is a man. Everything that I described is what a man should be. That's it. Those attributes, those characteristics, those values do describe a man of high value. But it's not like my father is now a high valued man. He is just a man. And we as men should just be men. And when I was watching this podcast, it was like, there's not high value man. There's being a man and there's being a man child. You're a man. You should be doing these things regardless. Because we can say a high value man, because we start talking about high value man, because what does that mean? That my father is not rich. So in today's society, a high valued man, quite frankly, would be all the things that my father is, but then he has money as well too. And we didn't grow up that way. So in today's definition of a high value man, my father is just a hard ass working man, but he is high in value. Because all the things that I described that my father have extreme value. So we should kind of eradicate those words. Toxic masculinity, high valued man. You are either a man doing what you should do as a man. Protect your family. Get involved in your community. Love. Be empathetic. Be a caregiver as well too. There's nothing wrong with that. All those things. Earn. Work. Those are things that you should be doing. Regardless, it should not have a definition of, because you do that, you're high. No. You are a man. And if you're doing those things, you have value. And if you aren't doing those things, then you are a man child. Hey, check it out, guys. I know testosterone is part of being a male, but if you want to raise your natural testosterone, trust me, guys, it doesn't make you any more masculine than you are. But if you want to raise your natural testosterone, I recommend grab Status. Grab Blue Nutraceutical Status. For more information about this, guys, hit the link in the description below. When we talk about terms like high valued man and toxic masculinity, it's essential to recognize that these are terms described specific behaviors and traits, rather than defining the inherent worth of characters of all men. Our goal is not to demonize masculinity, but rather to promote a healthier, more comprehensive understanding of what it means to be a man. And that's it. What does it mean to be a man? All the things I said, all the things I described that my father are, that's what a man is. But it's also vital to remember that these discussions often intersect with other important topics like, mental health, societal expectations, and gender equality. The conversation about masculinity is multifaceted, ongoing, and it's to the core, it is about better understanding and improving the ways in which gender roles affect all people. So it's clear that this is a complex issue and we've only scratched the surface today. As we continue to explore this topic in the future, which I 100% will, in certain videos, we encourage open, respectful dialogue in the comment section below, guys. Just let's chat about it and let's be positive in the comment section. Remember, we're all learning and growing together. If you found this video helpful and insightful, please give it a thumbs up, guys. Hit the link in the description below, put on your notifications, and let's talk about this more. Let's do more of these conversations because on my channel, again, my 4 pillars, mental health, training, nutrition, and cardio. This is part of mental health. And it's a big thing that we need to talk about, especially me being a man and especially me being a father. And yes, always don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Anyway, Until next time, guys, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.